Novità assoluta per il marchio Prestige per la stagione.
An absolute novelty for the Prestige brand for the 2023 season is the F4 model. It is not only a new boat, but it's the beginning of a new generation of the F line and is full of innovation solutions in terms of habitability and design. Let's see together how this yacht is made. First of all, let me tell you that it is wider than any other 15-metre boat. To be exact, it is 4.5 metres wide. The height of the bulwarks is well concealed by lines, windows and friezes. The bow has a distinctive sign and is high above the sea to defend itself well from the waves. The flying bridge is surrounded by rails, which in some places is completely covered by the backrests of the sofa. There is no fiberglass gunwale, so it feels freer and more open, and it saves weight. The layout is classic. The living room with a dining table, the helm station, and next to it, an area that can be transformed according to your needs. And then a kitchen unit, instead of which you could find a longer sofa.
Il ponte è molto largo anche nel vertice, così.
The deck is also very wide at the apex, so there's more room for manoeuvring as well. The sun deck can be partially shaded by a canopy top, and on the deck there are 3 natural light entrances for the owner's cabin. The swimming platform is submersible, and there's a practical technical locker in the counter transom. But now let's see the real innovations. The project is signed, as for all the Prestige yachts, by Camillo Garrone, and the engineering is by the shipyard.
Su questo esemplare hanno disposto.
On this vessel, they arranged the sofas longitudinally to let us better admire the view, but you can ask to install the sofas, for example, in an L shape. In both cases, the table rises and falls and can become a sun deck together with the seats.
La cucina disposta
The
per
kitchen arranged across the beam invites you to socialise, and this is an aperitif area. Having around you in a small space so many storage compartments and all the necessary appliances is very practical. The living area has been furnished for relaxation, with many comfortable seats from which you can see the sea, participate in navigation or watch TV. There are 2 recommended options, a window on the port side and a French door on the starboard side, which serves as a passage. Even below deck, this F4 is different from the other 15 metres. The owner's cabin is located forward, away from the noise and the heat of the engines, but also separated from the other cabins due to the difference in level and the bathrooms that stand in the way. The low bed and the entrance in a corner make it seem very large, airy and bright. There is a wardrobe, a sofa with a console and an ensuite bathroom with 2 sinks. The central area of the hull is dedicated to guests, with a cabin with 2 beds that can form a double and another with 2 bunks. Both have wardrobes with good capacity and share the same bathroom. Then there's a very functional area with a washing machine, a vacuum cleaner and a service cabinet.
Prestige F4 è stato.
The Prestige F4 was equipped with 2 Volvo Penta diesel engines, the D6 with inline 6 cylinders and 480 horsepower, and of course the propulsion system with pod drive IPS.
C'è anche il joystick.
There is also the manoeuvring joystick, which I suggest you install because the construction is quite high, 5.34 metres, and it also provides for the possibility of adding a hardtop. That means it becomes 7.17 metres. With such a grip on the wind, it's best to let technology help.
7 nodi di velocità e a poppa.
We are navigating at 7 knots of speed, and astern she produces very little swell. This is interesting because if we are forced to navigate in channels with other boats, it causes very little swell, even though we are going quite fast.
Adesso la portiamo in planata.
Let's go into ploughing mode and fully lower the interceptors.
I serbatoi del carburante sono pieni al
The fuel tanks are 30% full. The total capacity is 1,300 litres, which is not exaggerated but good enough.
La capacità invece del serbatoio dell'acqua è di 586 litri.
The capacity of the water tank is 586 litres, which is really high. But let's consider that this is a boat that could be inhabited by 7 people, 6 guests and 1 crew member with a cabin aft. However, based on the data in the approval certificate, we will also be able to bring 8 people on board.
20 nodi di velocità, autonomia.
Speed of 20 knots, autonomy around 200 miles, 6.3 and 6.4 litres per mile.
È molto
It's very quiet at this speed, yet the engines are close together and the boat isn't that big or that long. How will it behave if we veer?
È pronta.
She's quick and she's responsive.
E quando decido di
And when I decide to resume my route, I find it easily. I don't have too abrupt a change of angle.
brusco, non ho uno sbandamento.
I don't have a heel to the opposite side, and it's really easy to navigate.
Se avete molta fretta potete navigare in crociera.
If you're in a hurry, you can cruise at 24 knots with 6.3, 6.4 litres per mile.
La situazione non è cambiata rispetto a prima.
The situation has not changed from before. In short, autonomy does not depend on speed. I still have the interceptors down, but slightly less than before. And now, full throttle.
Bello sentirla così.
It's nice to feel it so safe and precise, even with the engines at maximum revs and therefore at maximum speed.
Solo fare un po' di attenzione perché mentre davanti
You just need to pay a little attention because while ahead, or here, on the starboard side, I have a perfect view. When I turn to port, I have a rather blind angle due to the low ceiling.
la lasciamo correre un po' e vediamo.
Let's let it run a bit and see what speed it reaches, perhaps by removing a little more depth from the interceptors.
Contagiri in zona rossa.
Rev counter in the red zone, 3,800, 3,850 RPM, 28.5 knots. How is the veer at this speed?
L'angolo di
The
sbandamento.
heeling angle increases but does not cause any control problems.
Mi avete visto in tutta questa prova toccare.
You have seen me touch the rudder very little throughout this test because it has great directionality and stability. It's a boat for everyone.
E direi che è tarata alla
And
perfezione.
I would say that it's perfectly calibrated for the family, both in terms of internal and external habitability, and in terms of ease and pleasure of piloting.